the Odyssey, and the Odyssey is something that's written by Homer, and it consists of 24 books. I'm on a really great website called shmoop.com, and it's a lot like SparkNotes. So just a good website to go to if you ever need more information about a text that you're reading. But before we begin reading the Odyssey, I would like to, we're only going to read book 1 first of all, and I want you to watch a summary of the entire story. So we're going to start out with that.
The Odyssey. Alashma. My name is Odysseus, and this is the story of a decade-long journey that would never have happened had I kept my big fat mouth shut. It all started when I was sailing back to Ithaca after the Trojan War ended. 10 years I spent fighting the Trojans, and all I wanted to do was get back to my wife, Penelope. However, my men and I were captured by a Cyclops. Dude had only one eye, so once we put that out, it was pretty easy to get away from him. But then I did something really stupid. I told him my name.
Did you hear me? My name is Odysseus.
Yelled it at him, actually, in a kind of taunting way as I sailed away on my ship. Did I mention that this was not a smart thing to do? Turns out that the Cyclops' dad was Poseidon. He complained about my blinding him to his pops, and Poseidon promptly cursed me to wander about on my ship for 10 years. Oops. A decade sailing around the ocean is a long time, but boy did we meet some interesting people on our trip. First, there was Aeolus, who was kind enough to give me a giant whoopee cushion that could have blown me back to Ithaca. Unfortunately, my idiot crew members sat on the thing while I slept. Then we met some cannibals. Yeah, that didn't end well. Then we met Circe, nice girl, but we got off on the wrong foot when she turned half of my men into pigs. Hermes, the god, not the luxury brand, Hermes, if you're French, I guess it's Hermès, gave me a drug that helped me resist Circe's wiles. She ultimately agreed to turn my crew members back into men if I would love her. Sounded like a deal to me, but please don't tell Penelope. After a year spent chilling with my Circe, my men and I sailed to the edge of the world, where I talked to lots of dead people. And what did my dead mom tell me but that my house at Ithaca had been overrun by men who were eating my food, spending my money, and trying to marry my wife. Time to get home, you say?
Have you been eating well? Are you wearing a jacket?
I couldn't have agreed more. Problem was, I couldn't get home. First there were the sirens, and then the Scylla took a bite out of my crew. And then there was a shipwreck, and everyone died but me. And then I washed up on Calypso's island, and she compelled me to be her boyfriend. Again, please don't tell Penelope. After 7 years with Calypso, the gods finally orchestrated my escape. Of course, Poseidon, the big jerk, was still mad at me for what I did to his one-eyed son. A little help from a sea nymph got me to the island of the Phaeacians, where I revealed that I was the Trojan horse guy. The Phaeacians then took me home to Ithaca. Thanks to my dead mom, I knew I had dozens of sleazy suitors camped out at my house. The goddess Athena disguised me as a beggar so I could get the lay of the land. Then, while staying in my swineherd's hut, who should I meet but my son, Telemachus? We shared a manly hug, then decided that the suitors had to go. The next day, my wife had the suitors compete for her hand in an archery competition with my old bow. The man who could string the bow and shoot an arrow through a dozen axe heads would win the competition and my wife. Of course, I took home the gold. Then my son and I, with an able assist from the household staff, killed all the suitors and a few other people besides. It was like a Die Hard movie. I revealed myself to my wife, but she didn't believe I was me until I told her that our bed was made out of an olive tree with its roots still in the ground. That's how my Odyssey came to an end. Thanks for making me jump through all those hoops, Homer. It was epic.
So there's a quick rundown of the Odyssey. Very quick rundown. Tons of excitement and action. It is a little bit of a difficult read, but we have lots of things to go along with it that is going to kind of help you along the way. So one of the first things that we're going to do is look at a timeline of his journey. So if you look at the agenda, there are websites here, but you can also find them on the classroom. this is the assignment that you'll be doing first. This is his timeline. So if we click on this website, it will be an interactive map of the 14 stops. So you can click on these. Here's number 1, and it gives you an overview of what happened. What I need you to do is look at each of his 14 stops and paraphrase them in your own words and make your own timeline. So what I suggest is that you have probably 2 windows open at the same time. You're going to have this website open with the map, and then the website that you're going to make your timeline on. Just pull that to the other side of the screen. So that's over here. So here's where you're going to make your timeline. It shows that you can do it in 3 different ways. We're going to do it by event. There's not anything you have to click on. All you have to do is start by putting your name, the title of your project. I would call it the Odyssey Timeline. Click Start. Now you're ready to go. All you have to do is tap anywhere on the timeline to insert an event. So I'm going to tap here. I'm going to label this event number 1, or stop number 1 might even be better. You can add a short description or a longer description. Now what I want to do is go over here to the timeline, read what it says about his first stop. Odysseus fought in the Trojan War for 10 years. After the fall of Troy, he left for his home in Ithaca, a journey which should have taken only a few weeks. It was to take him 10 years. So, first he fought in the War of Troy, or the Trojan War, I should say, and began his journey home. So I'm paraphrasing this or making it shorter and putting it in my own words. I'm going to hit the check mark now that I'm done, and I can move this to wherever I want to move it by just clicking. Now I want to add another event. Remember, we're going to have 14 on this line. So I'm going to click here for event number 2. I'll just put event number 2, and on this timeline, I'll look for his second stop, and here's number 2. I'll read about his second stop. I'll paraphrase that in my own words here. I'll just type in some letters and hit a check mark. And I'll move this wherever I want. You can move it here, beside, or below. But remember that you have to have 14. Once you're done, you have to hit finish, and then you can hit save, and it'll save it. Now you're going to want to save this on your computer, but for the assignment, you can just hit save like that, and it's done. And if you don't happen to get it done by the end of class, you still want to make sure you save it, because you can go back to it and just pick up where you left off. And then after that, on the assignment sheet, you're going to want to actually take a screenshot of your timeline when it's done and just put your screenshot down below and turn it in. You should be able to get this done in 1 class period. The other thing that you'll be working on throughout the week is watching the true story of Troy, because that includes a lot of background knowledge that you need to know in order to read this story. So the movie is quite long, and you'll have to watch it for about 20 minutes per day, or you could choose to sit and watch it all at home. But if you break it down into 20 minutes per day, you can start today, Monday, and end it by Friday. So we have on the classroom that assignment as well. But you're going to watch the movie using video notes, which we used last week. Again, you're going to cut and paste the website onto video notes and take notes each day as you watch it. And if you remember, video notes will mark the place that you stopped. So if you watch about 20 minutes Monday and then Tuesday you need to pick it up again and go on with it, Video notes will tell you at what point in the video you left off, so you can just scroll forward to that spot, continue watching and taking your notes. And your notes you'll turn in by Friday. So 2 things today: watch The True Story of Troy and then make your outline. And you should be able to get 20 minutes of this in today, as well as finishing the outline today. Just for fun, if you want, you can go here to hear some ancient Greek music. Who knows, you know, a little bit interesting. And then every day of this week, you're also going to want to be reviewing your video notes from last week about the characters and your Quizlet terms, because you will have, at the end of this week, a quiz over the Odyssey, and some of those things will be included in the quiz. So you have lots to do. Don't waste any time. You can review this stuff at home for homework if you'd like. I would work on the outlining, the timeline in class in case you have any questions.